Hi folks, welcome back to the channel. Mantok Productions here. A few things have changed today. We are in a place of the world that I have not been in before. We are in Australia. That's right. We are in Australia, ladies and gents. Very far away from where we last were, which was Bergen in Norway. I have no idea what that sign is. But we're going to do the A2A Cherokee video with the Flight1 Garmin GTN 750 implementation. And a few things are different than in the Cessna. It's going to be very interesting. Let's first just get stuck in. Okay, no, it wasn't that one, it wasn't that one, was it number, yes, there we go. A few things have changed. The last video, if you had noticed, you probably did. The last video with the Cessna 172 Flight1 Garmin GTN 750, the audio and visuals sync was awful. It was basically a massive desync in the audio of that video, and that is basically shadow play. And I googled it and I figured out what went wrong, and the reason that it was like that was because shadow play, which is actually recording up in the top right hand corner, records in variable frame rate. It does not record locked frame rate. And whenever I go into Adobe Premiere Pro, it doesn't like that. It doesn't like variable frame rates, and that's why the desync issue happened. But I found a workaround. There's a small free program which changes your video files from variable frame rates to locked frame rates. So I'm going to try and use that, and hopefully this should turn out better for you. So the one thing to look for is whenever I click the middle mouse button and you hear that Easy Dock click sound, that sound, and whenever I go to move my view in the cockpit like this, if that click sound is synced and matched up to me actually moving the view with my mouse, you know that the sync issue is okay. If you hear the click sound and then like 5 seconds later you see my mouse do this, you know it didn't work. But if it doesn't work for this video, then I will just find a different recording technique. Another thing that has changed is I'm now recording on a new microphone. I've had this microphone for a long time. It's a Samsung desktop USB stand-up microphone. It's really nice, and it should offer a much better recording quality than my headset mic. So let's not get bogged down too quickly. Let's get stuck in. Right. Let's go off the pre-flight inspection. Actually, no. Let's do this bit first. Wait, which bit do I need to do first? Master switch off. Beacon on. I'm going to do entering the cabin and starting the engine. I'm going to do the entering the cabin bit first. Airplane weight and balance checked. Well, let's check that. I think it's F4. Yes. Right, so let's just fill up the fuel tanks there. It's going to be a 300 nautical mile trip today. Let's bring Heidi with us, and let's bring the baggage that Heidi is bringing with her. Let's make it metric, just because my mind works in metric better than it does in imperial. Okay, so that's checked. Close and secure cabin door, that is checked. Control wheel lock remove. Let's remove our seatbelts there. Let's just see that is pretty free and clear. Control wheel lock removed. Controls free and correct. That's what we've just checked. Ignition and avionics off. So ignition is off. Avionics. Let's just check my avionics actually. Yeah. Yeah, avionics is off. Very good. Master switch on. Fuel quantity check. It is checked. Fuel selector, fullest tank. The fullest tank is, well, they're both full, but let's just put it on the left tank to begin with. Flaps extend, then retract. And these are manual flaps, so it doesn't take any time to really bring them up and down. There we go. Elevator trim set for takeoff. Let's just go up to the elevator trim, which is, funnily enough, on the roof. LOL. Oh crap, what did I just do? What did I just do? There we go. It's in the middle, which is pretty neutral. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Alright, let's get back to our little view here. That's that one. Elevator trim has been set for takeoff. Beacon is on. Let's go turn our beacon on, which is... it's kind of hard to see in this rotating beacon. There we go. Okay, so that's pretty much what we've set. Let's go to page 2. That's engine start and taxi. Let's actually pop that down and go to F8. Yeah. Okay, control wheel lock release belts. We have master switches on. Fuel quantity gauges have been checked. Master switch off. Ignition off. Flaps extend. Flaps extend. And did it screw me up? No, it didn't. Oh my goodness. Easy dock view is working for me. Right, let's just wobble that flap. It is wobbly, but it's okay. Let's have a look at my connectors. They look fine. Let's go back. Let's look at these end tail connections. Or these wing connections, sorry. Let's remove my tie down. That looks fine. We'll remove the wheel chocks in a minute. Let's just sump the lower fuel tank here. Just check the... yep, fuel is good. Let's just check the oil. Almost 8 quarts, that's fine. Nose wheel looks fine, and the strut extension is working. Okay, let's just check the propeller. Make sure that looks fine. That looks fine. And then check inside. Make sure there are no rags or anything that's been left in. Let's just click that a couple times. All right, let's sump the side here. That's fine. Let's have a look at the right-hand fuel tank. That's fine. Let's have a look. Sump the left wing. That's fine. Let's have a look at the tires again. That looks fine. Disconnect our tie down and also check our stall. I think that's our stall warning horn. Yeah, it's a stall warning detector. And you can flick it and make sure it's working. I'll take the pitot tube cover off in a minute. Yep, right, now I'm going to take the pitot tube cover off. Let's take that off. If I had turned this on, it would work. I don't know exactly what that is. The static hole for a blockage. But yes, I have clicked that. Right, let's check the connections here. They look fine. Wiggle this left-hand flap. Again, it's wiggly like the right, but it's okay. Let's check these connections. They look fine. Let's go around to the back of the aircraft now. Let's take down the back tail tie down. Check these connections. They look fine. Check these ones here. Wiggle. Oh yeah, there's a bit of give in there, but that's still fine. Finally, let's make sure that Heidi locked the baggage compartment, and that is good. And you can see that we are already fogging up. And the fact that Heidi is in here as well will fog it up even more. And if we had a full cabin here, actually, you know what? I'm tempted. Let's just fill this baby up. Like, what are we actually doing here if we're not? Let's just fill her up. There you go. 39 kilos of baggage. Let's make out around 40. Full fuel, full passengers. So we got a full rig here today. Right. Let's go to engine starting and taxi checklist. Wheel brakes are on. Carb heat, let's check that. Carb heat is off. Fuel selector valve is on fullest tank. Master switch, let's put on. Fuel, electric fuel pump test. Let's. Yep, you can hear that working there. Primer, 1 to 3 strokes. Let's give it 1 or 2. It's Australia. It's fine. It's nice and warm. Let's see, primer, okay, mixture rich. Let's just put the mixture rich there. Throttle cracked. It's cracked there. Area is clear. Ignition both. Okay, now starter, engage. Before we do that, let me just put on the cabin ventilation, I think. Is that it? I don't know which one it is. We'll find out soon. And RPM about 1,000. Let's come and look at our temperatures and pressures here. Okay, fuel pressure is good. Oil pressure is coming into the green. Yeah, that's good. That's the main one, the oil pressure. If something doesn't go wrong, if something doesn't go right there, we would have to shut down the engine quite quickly. And oh wow, like that cleared up really quick. That is because I popped these on. Let's just have a look. That's our cabin ventilation, windshield defroster. Let's just pop that off now because we don't need that. Cockpit heat. Let's make both of those about 50%, shall we? Okay, now let's pop in our comms. Go back to our checklist. Okay, oil pressure has been checked. Ammeter positive indication. Nav lights is required. Let's pop on our nav lights. Landing light is on. Let's not put our strobes on yet. But rotating beacon is on. Landing light is on. Bright, dim, and nav lights. Okay, so that's fine. Altimeter is set. Let's just spam that. Let's just check. Active sky is 1031. That is correct. The altimeter has been set. Heading is set. Let's just hit D on the keyboard to sync our compass, our heading indicator with our actual magnetic compass. And our takeoff runway is 34. So let's just select 34. There we go. Radio master on. There you go. And radio's on. Okay, so this is the engine starting and taxi checklist. Next is the ground check. That's for the mag check and takeoff. Now we will go to the Garmin setup of the flight plan and everything. So I will see you right there in a second. I'll make a break in the video just for the audio sync issue. So here we are again, folks. Let's go to the map. Okay, let's just check. Runway 34 is there, so our taxi is actually very simple taxi. We're at a GA stand. Okay, let's go to the flight plan, and here we are. We're currently at Melbourne, and I'll show you our flight plan today. Our flight plan is from Melbourne in southern Australia down to Hobart in Australia, in Tasmania, I believe that is. It is a 333.4 nautical mile trip, so I will be making a break in the video between in the cruise section, and so this video will kind of be spliced into two parts. So let me just think. Yeah, let's put in the SID first. It's 0.2. So can I put in load procedures, departure? Can I load in? Please have it. Please have it. Is that it? 0.2? 0.2. Boom. That's what we want right there. Let's load departure. Okay, so that's brought us down to Sierra Whiskey. Oh no, sorry, Charlie Whiskey Sierra. And then we take the airway Hotel 169. So let's go here, load airway, Hotel 169, and we want to go all the way to Synot. Right there. Load. And then from Synot we want Whiskey 233 to HB. From Synot, load airway, Whiskey 223. Yep. Select that to HB. Boom. Load. Right. I just can't get enough of how intuitive that flight plan is. That really is amazing. Right, let's just go back, let's hit map, and let's just zoom out and see what this looks like. Okay, so we have our SID, and you can see there that you actually have to climb 1,200 feet, and then you turn left. So this SID, I just don't want this SID to catch us out of surprise here, to catch us off guard. Let's just go to my maps here. You can see the SID I've pulled up on aircharts.org, and it says 0.2 departure, graduation 3.5 degrees, up to 1,200 feet, then 3.3, track 340. So it's tracking 340, and then at 1,200 feet, turn left to intercept track 253 from Corrit. Or to Corrit, sorry, yes, to Corrit. And then when we get there, cross Corrit at or above 4,000 feet. So we need to be 4,000 feet by Corrit, which should be fine. Then turn left, track 148 to Point, which is here. Turn left, track 137 to Sierra Whiskey. Charlie Whiskey Sierra, VOR. Thence as cleared. I love that word, thence. That makes no sense. It's actually I think it's an old English medieval word, thence. It's the kind of thing you'd hear in Shakespeare, but I have no idea why it's on this chart, don't ask me. But this is Australia, so cool things happen. Okay, so that is kind of the SID explained as so far. And once I get up to cruise altitude, which today is 11,000 feet or flight level 110, we will make a cut in the video. And as we come down here to Hobart, we will then do the approach planning in the second stage of the video. So let's just hit back so that we can go to our flight plan. I'm not exactly sure how the flight plan, how I'm going to fly this little section. I don't know what the GTN does exactly. I'm just going to do the best I can. But there we go. So that is our track done there. And I will show you how the autopilot works in a second. I might as well just turn that on now. Okay, so one thing just to explain on the autopilot before I take off. You've got the 4 modes. You've got standard, HD, low and high track. Standard is for the autopilot keeps the aircraft with wings level for level flight. HD is heading mode selection, so it will follow the heading that you select. Low and high track are exactly the same thing, and that just tracks your nav source, whether it be your nav or your GPS. Low and high, though, the difference is high tracks your nav source at a higher frequency. So if you want a much more exact tracking of your GPS nav line or whatever, you select high. If you want to cross over a VOR, which is quite sensitive, and you don't want your aircraft to be thrown around trying to track that very sensitive radial coming into a VOR, you select low, and it will track it at a much lower kind of frequency, and it will be less sensitive to the inputs from the nav system. But for GPS reasons, we're always going to keep it selected on high. So that's that. All right, without much further ado, let's get stuck in. Let me just pull up my next checklist. Mixture rich for ground operations here. So the runway is incredibly long. Oh, what just happened to my computer? Oh, my laptop just died. Maybe it's not plugged in properly. Was it not plugged in properly? I don't know what's going on. Never mind, I just lost my laptop. Well, that's fine. Actually, I'm going to do a flaps up takeoff. This is Victor Hotel Uniform Echo India. This is a nice little skin that I got off of the A2A forums, I believe. and just going to taxi up this taxiway here, and up yonder is the threshold of runway 34. So let's just prep for takeoff. Let's select our nav source. We're going to select it from nav. We're going to make it GPS. Let's just hit the brakes there, make sure we don't overspeed in the taxiway. And if we just pop out this panel here, you can see we've got that already selected to GPS. So our first waypoint is 1,200 feet. Do you remember, as the chart stated, climb to 1,200 feet, then turn left. So that's the first thing that the autopilot wants us to do, as far as I can see. So we will make sure that happens, and then once that happens, we'll turn left, or I think we'll just attack we'll attack that heading and follow that when we get there. So a few things that are different you'll see from the 172 is that, of course, you have to control your vertical navigation yourself. It doesn't have any. The autopilot system isn't the same as the 172 in that you can select a vertical ascent rate or a vertical descent rate. You have to manually manage that yourself, while the autopilot is doing the lateral, the LNAV navigation, if you like. So there is that extra challenge in the Cherokee as opposed to the 172. We're just on the threshold here. And for some reason, if you heard that, my laptop is just turning itself back on again. So let's just have a look around. We're pretty much ready to go. Oh, yep. Before we go, though, we're going to do a mag check. So, ground check, throttle 2000 RPM. Mags. Let's just make sure the RPM drop is noted here. Check the left mag. Small drop. Let's go back to both. And then the right mag. Again, only a small drop. That's fine. Let's bring it back. Instruments, engine instruments check. Let's just make sure that, yeah, everything's still in the green. Let's bring down the RPM to 1000 slowly. Okay, let's just run through the takeoff checklist. Seat belts and belts and doors checked have all been secure. Flight controls free and correct. Yes, they are. Let's just... Okay, so elevator trim has been set. Mixture is rich. Carb heat is off. Fuel selector is on the fullest tank. Electric fuel pump is on. Engine gauges are normal. We did just check those engine gauges there. Wing flaps as desired. Okay. Okay, brakes off. And while we're about it, let's just turn that volume down for the sake of being able to hear myself. Okay. Let's just do a wind check on... let's do a wind check. It is 260 degrees at 4 knots. So it's coming from our left-hand side. And there we are, set. Whoa, just counter with rudder. We're all good. Lift off. About there. Whoa, counter with rudder. Rudder is very sensitive in the Cherokee. Let's just do a bit of trimming here. Okay. Let's set high frequency. And now, since we've set high frequency and it's tracking, GPS is selected here, and you can see the GPS is on here. We should be tracking, and once we hit 1,200 feet, we should then turn left. It should do it by itself. I'm really hoping it does it by itself. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Get there, get there, get there. Boom, 1,200 feet. Come on. Cross 253. Are you going to do this for me? Okay. Oh, okay. I pressed that button. Yes, okay. Are you now going to turn left for me? Come on. Come on, turn left. You know you can do it. You know you can do it. Do it. I have no idea what's going to happen. Okay, we're hitting our medium marker, I think that is, or alta marker. Not quite sure. Let's just trim up slightly so that we get a better ascent rate. I'm actually climbing, and I'm doing my vertical speed with my trim here. So I'm pretty sure we should just turn and start tracking to Corrit. Yeah, and it's not doing a terribly good job of tracking. It could be more sensitive. I don't know why it's not being as sensitive as it could be. Let's just turn. (252) Okay, so it's done a big arcing sweep, and hopefully it should now settle down and attack the nav track. So we're climbing nicely now, and you can see that's Melbourne in all its glory. And this is Orbex, by the way. Everything you can see is pretty much Orbex. Let's just watch our vertical speed. We don't want the plane to nose up too much because it might go into a stall. Okay, now what we want to see is, ideally we want to see the plane start to turn to the right. Its wings are pretty much level now. Are we going to see it? Yeah, the track's coming in. Yep, come on. Come on. Turn, baby, turn. Whoop. Yep, it's turning now. It's just gonna take its sweet time. And we're in the middle of a cloud. Coming up through 4,000 feet now, so we're approaching 4,000 feet much quicker than... Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to flick it to heading mode so that it turns much sharper. And I'm going to use heading mode to get us onto that track, and then I'm going to put it in high frequency, because you can see heading mode is much sharper. And I don't see this as a practice that's bad. I'd say this is probably realistic to be able to attack, because I'm still using fully IFR controls. I'm not breaking my IFR bounds at all. I'm just using the tools that I have disposed, to just be more exact to stay on that track. Let's just attack that a little bit more. So I'm going to come in at a shallow angle to the nav track, and then once I'm getting close, I will then put it back to high. Okay, so I'll put it back to high track about there, and then turn to, I think it was 252 was the heading. Whatever. Okay, so it should settle down now. I'm not too worried about it. I've done a few practice runs with the Cherokee and the 750 GTN, because it's a different kettle of fish than the Cessna. The tracking in the Cessna is much more exact. You know, you hit GPS and it will track that. Let me just do a mixture. Let's just lean out my mixture because I'm coming above 5,000 feet. And let's just go and check my... we can now turn off our fuel pump. We are okay there. Let's just check my... yeah, that's fine. Cruise power 22 to 26,000 RPM. We're not really in the cruise yet, but climb speed 74 to 90 knots, and we're pretty much in that band there. Mixture rich. After 5k lean for max RPM. Okay, now you can see that the aircraft is starting to track much better. It's quite a finely tuned instrument. It won't do massive adjustments like in the Cessna. It's pretty much, it's quite similar to tracking a radial. It's that kind of sensitivity. It's not like a 737 where it's just like boom, it's just there and it's on the track. This coming up is going to be interesting. We're now doing our turn, so we're going to see how the Cessna, oh, it's not the Cessna, the Cherokee. Okay, actually, let me have a look at that. Set course to 253. We have that set to 253. The new track will come in soon. What is that ping noise? That's just my phone. The new track will come in soon. It will tell us where, and I may use the heading hold mode again, actually, to do this turn in a much quicker fashion, because I know it's as soon as it hits Corot, it's gonna like do a massive great turn. Big turns like this, it struggles being exact, but the smaller turns are fine. I have a cold, by the way, folks, which is not nice. Okay, 148. Come on. Okay, so now we're on heading mode, and we're going to make this turn on heading hold or heading mode, as opposed to just so that we can make this turn much smarter. Coming up through 7,000 feet now. Leveling out, and as soon as we level out, let's put us back on high track. So that's basically for very sharp turns like that, and you just got to keep on top of the aircraft, especially in the SID where these high angle turns happen quite close to one another. But as soon as you get out into the cruise section and you're just flying along, you can pretty much leave it in the high track pretty much permanently, and it will do its job fine. It's just that it's not it's not as exact as the 172, so it took a bit of getting used to. I did a few flights before recording this video just because I wanted to make sure I was on top of the system. In the last video, yeah, so it's pretty much tracking perfectly now. In the last video I made a few mistakes, some of them quite glaringly so. For instance, my friend Eric Lund, he mentioned if you go to utilities and trip planning, I was talking about this section here, and this altitude, ESA, is actually estimated safe altitude above the terrain that you're flying along on your track, and it was 8,400 and something in the last video with the 172, and I thought, oh, that means I should probably fly at that altitude. So I actually flew at the minimum safe altitude all the way to Bergen, which isn't what that altitude is saying. That's just saying if you want to have your minimum safe altitude above terrain, that's what you fly at. And in this instance, it's 6,700. But yeah, we're not going to do that. We're going to climb up to flight level 110. So let's set our millibars to standard QNH now that we're passing up through, well, 4,000 feet. Actually, where? Yeah, 4,000 feet, I think. What is our... Yeah, above 4,000 feet, we can tune 1013. 1013, for those of you who don't know, is the QNH setting for standard barometric pressure. So if you are flying IFR in a small aircraft and you don't have a button where, like in the bigger airliners, you just push in the standard QNH button and it says standard on the PDF. You don't have that in this, but you always need to know that standard QNH is actually QNH 1013. I found that out in the Dash 8 whenever I was flying IFR one day in Europe, and I all of a sudden realized I didn't have that button, and the ATC was asking me to tune standard QNH. I didn't actually know what that was, and he just said just tune QNH 1013. So that's that. My cold is pretty rough. I do apologize about that, but you know, I didn't want to go another week without making this video. So and I wanted to try out the new microphone and trying to sync the audio of shadow play. So there we are. The track is pretty much accurate. It's locked onto its track now, and we don't really need to worry about that anymore. That was just a specific SID problem where it takes its while. It takes its sweet time. Let's just take an outside view now. See, where is Melbourne? There it is. It's down there, behind that cloud. So we're going to fly south, out across the bay. And this is the part of this is one of the parts of Australia that is nice and green. So I've done a bit of flying over this terrain already in the 737 and the Dash 8, and it's actually around the coastal areas. It looks absolutely stunning. Well, it looks stunning everywhere, to be honest. Let's close that now because we like to breathe oxygen. It looks stunning wherever you go in Australia, but you only get the desert in kind of central Australia, as far as I know. So coming up to 8,500 feet, we've got a few more thousand to go. I might actually break in the video now, and then I'll reach you back when I'm starting to do my descent planning. But basically what I will do from here on is once I reach 11,000 feet, I will hit this button down on my yoke, autopilot altitude hold switch, and that actually holds the altitude automatically for me, so I don't have to worry about my LNAV. And it only asks for some manual input for retrimming the aircraft, as we've seen before. So, but yeah, it's going smoothly. I'm glad it's going smoothly, and I'm glad I waited on this particular video, because if I rushed it, it wouldn't have turned out as well, because there are a few subtleties about the Cherokee and this particular Garmin 750 that you just have to watch out for. It's a different plane from the Cessna, and so you have to be careful. You have to know what's going to happen before it happens. So let me just do some do some EGT leaning here. Just pull out until I hear the peak. Just watching the EGT gauge there, and that is pretty much the peak on that line, which is correct. That's good. So I'm just going to put the mixture in until we have about 25 to 50 degrees rich of peak, which is, I would say, roughly 50% mixture, which is fine. And I might adjust that again when we get to 11,000 feet. But other than that, we've now broken through the clouds, and we've got a nice little cloud layer down there. Check that. That is nice. And a lovely skin. In part 2, I will let you know who actually designed the skin and who's put it up on the forums. But I'm glad all 4 of us have made it this far, and let's actually turn off my landing light. Thank you very much for joining me, and I will see you in well, I won't split the video, as in I won't make it a separate video, but I will see you in a second. Hi folks, welcome back. We are nearing the top of our descent now, with about 7.5 minutes to go, as shown on our VCalc function in the utilities panel in the 750. And you can see out the window. Let's actually just pop outside. So you can see we are down in the beautiful Tasmanian outback, or Tasmanian area of the world. Let's go back to our map. Okay, almost 40 nautical miles before we're overhead the airfield, so 40 nautical miles out. I think it's time that we calculate our... Oh, not that one. Calculate our approach, or arrival. So our arrival is going to be YMHB. HB. Enter. And there is basically no approach available, so we're going to cancel that. The approach... Oh, there's no arrival available. The approach is going to be, let's see, YMHB, Hobart. Okay, we've got a number of selections here. What we're going to do is we're going to go to our charts, YMHB. And actually first let's check the wind, because that's going to probably be the biggest factor. At YMHB we've got wind variable at 4 knots. We can basically do what we like. It's only 4 knots, it's not a big deal. Okay, so on my flight plan, I originally planned to come in runway 30, so that's what I'm going to do. And I've got the 30 chart here, the RNAV GNSS runway 30, Hobart. And we come inbound to, I believe, MHBEM. That is the inbound. But let's just check the RNAV Z runway 30. The RNAV Z GPS, this one here. Boom. Okay, transition is going to be, let's just check what the MHBEM. MHBEM, it doesn't have that there, but let's just select something like that. Let's hit load approach. Boom. Okay, so now when we go back to our map and zoom in, we will see, and we've even got missed approach procedures there. That's very good. We can see that we'll hit HM or HB, sorry, and then we'll fly outbound, I believe, to there and then come back in again. I think that's the way it's going to work. If we go back to our chart here, HMBEA. Actually, instead of doing that, let's procedure, approach, transition, that one there. So if we can hit, actually let's go direct there and then come around again, instead of going to the airport and then coming. You see what I mean? Okay, I can see what's happening now. So if we look here, yeah, so we're going to hit HB, and then we're actually going to go straight out to MHBEA, and then into there, and then into the runway. So it's a bit like a... And yeah, that looks like a fair... That looks like a fair plan. I see nothing wrong with that. Of course, at this point, ATC would be telling me what to do, but ATC's not on at the moment. Definitely not down here. So, I'm happy with that. Let me just have a look at... So we've selected MHBEA as our transition. So we're going to fly inbound to HB, which is, I believe, direct over the airport, or it's probably that one. Yeah, I think it's directly over the airport, and then we're going to fly outbound to BEA, and then in 5 nautical miles into BEI, and then into BEF, and then BEM, and then directly down to the runway. These are our altitudes and gradients, and I've selected the VCalc. Actually, let's just go back to VCalc now, because it's probably getting close to the time that we descend. Yeah, 1 minute 50. I've selected 4,000 at HB, so we'll definitely be able to hit our target well before. We'll be at 4,000 in this area, and it's actually telling us that BEI, it's telling us that we need to be probably 4,000 at the beginning of our transition, so that's fine. Coming close. Oh, a little bit of turbulence. It is getting a bit turbulent. Okay, the way this is going to work, because we have no vertical automation, I'm going to pull off the altitude hold, and then I'm going to very, very, very gently pull back the throttle, and in doing so, that is going to cause us to start descending. But I want to do it in a way that it's very, very gradual, and I want to see if I can try and hit about negative 600 feet per minute descent rate, which is what I've Actually, no, VS profile 500 feet per minute, correction. So I'm going to see if I can get that needle to be at 500 feet per minute as we go down smoothly, and in that way, that's how we're going to hit our target of approaching 4,000 feet over Hotel Bravo. So, okay, it says descend to target, so descending now. Let's just pull off. And that didn't work out terribly well. We started coming up instead of down. Right, let's just pull the throttle. Pull the throttle back. And also trim. Trim a little. See, as we add power, the nose lifts, and as we release, as we take away power, the nose drops. So we're actually controlling our vertical descent by our throttle, which is a bit weird. Okay, right, now it's just fine-tuning the throttle to get us close to that 500 feet per minute and not overspeeding at the same time. Let's just pitch up slightly with the trim. Don't want to overdo it. There we go. That's better. Now if we can hold that needle right there, that is ideal. While doing so, let's pull up our next checklist. Let's pull up the descent checklist. Power as desired, mixture rich. Let's enrich in my mixture, even up at 10,000 feet. Electric fuel pump, let's turn that on now. Fuel selector on fullest tank. I've been regulating that pretty well over the cruise. Oh my goodness, watch that vertical speed. I've been regulating that fairly well over the cruise, so actually both tanks are quite even, so I'm not really going to, if there's no significant difference between one tank or the other, I'm not going to worry too much about that. Other than that, we have nothing to do in checklist wise until the landing checklist. That's fine. So yeah. And this is Tasmania. At least I think this is Tasmania. If I'm wrong, that's terrible. I'm pretty sure, I'm like almost like 99.9999% sure this is Tasmania. Because when I looked a couple months ago at this area of the world, I think there used to be an Orbex FTX scenery package that was freeware for Tasmania, and it had Launceston, I think it's called, just this area of the world, and it had Launceston Airport, I think, as freeware as well. And I think that's the first Orbex scenery I ever experienced. It was a bit laggy because my machine back then was not calibrated very well. Let's just get a screeny. Here we go. Yeah, so we're pretty close to that 500 feet per minute descent rate. I'm not going to worry too much either way, because we have leeway. We're descending. Technically, we're descending earlier than we need to, so I'm okay. We actually don't have to be 4,000 by HB, we have to be 4,000 by, as I explained earlier, and we have to be 4,000 by here, not here, so. But I think the next video that I would like to do would be a video on how to do holds. That's one of the parts of IFR navigation or IFR flight that you do, is being able to fly a standard holding pattern. But it's not really a VFR thing as much. I think the closest thing to a hold for VFR flight would probably be flying an orbital. So that's, I think, going to be my next video, and I could probably I have a few ideas, unique ideas for that video that I haven't done before. So I'm gonna see if I can surprise you in the next video. But this one here was just taking a nice long cruise with the 750 in the Cherokee, just to show you that it can be done. There's a few quirks as you've seen, but nothing that's too difficult. And this is definitely a VAT simable IFR machine, especially with the 750. It adds, as the same with the 172. It adds a lot of IFR intuitiveness and functionality that the general kind of default GPS might not give you. And this 750 suite, this is basically 99% realistic to what it is in real life. The only difference between this and the one in real life, I've been told, is that this is a simulator. This is a screen I'm looking at, and not the real thing. There are certain functions that you don't actually need in a simulator, because it's a simulator, not real life. And that's basically the only differences between them, as far as I've heard. So let's go back to the map here. We're coming into the airspaces, and you can see the airport ahead of us there, which is nice. Coming down through 7,000 feet. Let's just zoom in here. You can see where we're headed, right there. I wonder if there's, I'm sure there's probably Orbex scenery, specific scenery for that. Let's go have a look at Orbex. Let's have a look. Australian airports. Can't see it. As far as I know, I can't see it. You know, an easier way of doing this would be going here. This is Air Daily X. This is a great guy if you want to get regular FSX news. And he's got a global map. Let me just make sure that my aircraft isn't killing itself. He's got a global map of all of the add-on airports in the world that you can get for FSX and P3D. And as we can see, Hobart is not currently covered by any add-on simulators. Launcherson, I think that's how you pronounce it. Apologies if it isn't. Launcherson. Launceston? I don't know. I'm sure someone will say in the comments. But here we are. Okay, you can see now that we're coming close to the airport here. So let's just bring out EasyDock and have a look. There we go. So about another 600 feet before we hit 4,000 feet. So I think our descent was quite well executed. And once we hit 4,000 feet, we'll hit that altitude hold switch again. And let's just have a quick look at our chart. Let's not look at that. Okay, so from MHBEA 4,000, we want to hit. Actually at MHBEI we want to be 3,680. Actually, let's just tune the QNH now that we're down. Let's see what the QNH is here at is 1028. So there we go. So as you can see, yeah, again, because of that change now, you can see our local QNH. We have about another 500 feet to go before we hit 4,000 feet, but we're basically here over the airfield now, and we're within 500 feet of our target altitude. So I would say in the Cherokee 180, without any automated vertical descent, I'd say that was pretty good. So turn left to 110 now. And I am going to be changing my heading as prompted, because I want to use heading hold to get us smartly around this corner, like I did for the SID. So now we're doing an outbound from the airport, and I just need to make sure that I hit the heading, the altitude hold at 4,000, and then be mindful that by the time I get to 5 nautical miles over to MHBEI, I should be 3,680. Okay, coming up. 100 feet to go. About 50 feet to go now. And altitude hold. Okay, so that's our descent from 11,000 feet down to 4,000. And you'll see some things changing. I've had the throttle down on low for a while, and you can see my airspeed is very slowly going to start bleeding off, and the nose is probably going to start rising. So I'm just going to add in a little bit of throttle, like so. And just check our checklists. Landing checklist: airspeed, wing flaps, airspeed for flaps down, touchdown, main wheel. Okay, we'll deal with that later. Let's just recheck our descent checklist. Power is desired, mixture is rich, electric fuel pump is on, and fuel selector on the fullest tank, which is the left-hand tank, which is correct. So there we go. Lovely scenery here at the moment. And you can see the wavering of the high frequency track of our nav source is it's still having that problem, but that's okay because it's only going to here, and from here I'm going to do heading hold to snap us around so that we can smartly make that turn. And then about halfway in between BEA and BEI, I'm actually going to start descending to 3,680, and then from there on, that's at 10 nautical miles out. So let's just make sure actually that our runway frequency, which I do not know, which I should know. Oh, it's going to be on this chart actually. Where's my localizer? Let's try VOR, runway 30. See if I can pull the frequency from this. Yeah, here we go. So, VOR DME is 1127. Okay, let's see if that works here. 11270. Enter. And then flick that over. That is hopefully going to give us... actually, let's set that down here as well. There we go, and then that should... on the frequency set, yep, 9.2 nautical miles, right, so we've got that set so that we can see what the nautical miles is to the threshold, or the localizer. Or the, sorry, no, the, yeah, the VOR DME. I'm just on a roll. There's nothing anyone can do at the moment to make me make a mistake right now. It's just, you know, I'm just like on fire. Okay, so now we're coming around our next heading. Actually, we can pull that from the chart here. I think is 230, but we'll wait until that's confirmed. Let's just hit 230 here. It's going to start flashing on here in a second. Look at those lovely mountains. Yep, 230 in. 7, 6, 5. As soon as we reach that section there, I'm going to flick this over to heading hold, and boom. See if I can hold as we turn, because I'm manually... oh, actually no, it's going to hold my altitude. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, it's going to hold my altitude. Okay, coming around smartly on that curve now. Ooh, maybe a little bit too smartly. Check that. Okay. Oh, boom. Yeah, I was just coming down through the layer of altitude there, of mist. Okay. Let's just back off slightly there. Let's go back to high frequency track and start thinking about descending slightly. Right, we want to hit 3,680, which is about there. And we want to do it a bit faster. Whoa. It's about there. Boom. Right, so let's get ready for our next turn. Just add in a little bit of throttle there. Oh, check that. Check that. That's like 6 feet off. That was perfect. Okay, so our next heading is going to be 30, is it? Something close to 30. Let's have a look. It's going to tell us soon, I hope. Please tell me. Tell me. Oh, 30, yeah. It's like boom. 4, 3, 2, 1. Boom. Right. 30. Making that turning under heading hold. Oh, there's a beach. Beaches. Check them beaches. Is that where the Tasmanian devils hang out? That's probably where that is. That's you know what? I think that's right. I think that's where the Tasmanian devils hang out, on that island. If you ask me, that is. If you ask my opinion, that's pretty much where they hang. Right, let's go back to high frequency track, because we have a 19 knot crosswind and we don't want to see. We want to see if we can let the autopilot deal with that. Okay, so next is at 6 nautical miles. We're 2,400 feet, so we've got to continue our descent. So going to wait for 2,400 feet now. Let's see if we can not plummet like a stone. Thank you very much. So watching our nautical miles rate, we could probably display the nautical miles on the NDB DME on the GTN 750 somewhere. I have not set up at the moment, so I'm just going to view it down here. So that's 9.1. And the autopilot's doing, the high frequency track's doing a good job of keeping us on that center line despite the 18 knot crosswind. So let's just double check that again. So yeah, 2,400 feet at 6 nautical miles, coming 8 nautical miles. Let's continue this descent. Continue this descent. That's it, babe. Start throttling back now as we get closer. We can see the runway lights, or the PAPI lights, but we're not going to. We're going to continue as if we're continuing in IMC conditions. And it is kind of misty, so it's a bit misty. Clearing 3,000 feet now, so 2,400 is there, so we've got 650 feet to go. And 1.2 nautical miles left until we need to hit that. So we're still good. Still good. LNAV plus V. So yeah, 0.5 nautical miles left and about 300 feet. 200 feet. 150 feet and 0.2 nautical miles, 0.1 nautical mile and 100 feet. We're 100 feet high. Okay, we're 100 feet high. That means we need to. Okay, next checkpoint is 5 nautical miles is 2,090 feet. So 0.6 nautical miles left. Throttle back slightly. Okay, you can see the track. It's overcompensating because the wind is dropping now that we're getting lower. The wind is dropping and the autopilot, the high track sensitivity is going to try and sort that out. We probably could go visual pretty soon now. Okay. 2,090 feet at, yeah, 4.7, so, oh, right. Pull off the autopilot. Autopilot disconnect. Whoa, there we go. So, there we are. Let's just continue our descent. Let's see what our next waypoint should be. 5 nautical miles. We've already passed, so from here on out, it's visual from here on out. Let's just change this to nav. to see, and let's change this to 30. Actually, it's supposed to be that way. And that will show us right there. That is our localizer, which we could have been using ever since we turned on to the track, but I wanted to see, and we're way too fast. Right, let's bring it down now. Now that we've got this space, and we know what the center line is now. Okay. Landing checklist: airspeed 75 to 85 for flaps up landing. We could do a flaps up landing. I think we're going to have to do a flaps up landing because our speed is quite high. We need to bleed off a lot of speed before. Let's just trim. 4-knot crosswind. Okay, touchdown main wheels first and then gently lower nose. That's fine. Right, speed is coming down and we're coming down in altitude. We're totally visual now. Okay, speed is bleeding off, or will start to bleed off as we shallow out. Strobe should have been on the entire time, but never mind. Whoop, little adjustment there. Coming down, coming down. Watching the pappy lights now. Do some trimming. Okay, coming down about 90 knots now, or 90 miles an hour, sorry. That's miles an hour, not knots. Okay, let's see if we can hit the center line. As I never hit the center line in any of my videos. Whoa. Just hold the airplane up now. No, we're not going to hit the center line. Are we? And there she's down. And main wheel is down. And front wheel was down. That was actually a really good landing. Never expected to land as good as that. And minimum braking required. And here we are. I've been here once before in my FSX adventures, and this was a long time ago. So all in all, that was a really good flight. I really enjoyed that. I think it went super smooth, and I think for the Cherokee, the technique that I was doing in flicking over to heading hold for the really difficult turns really worked well. Not something I think you need to do in the Cessna 172 as much at all, since the Cessna 172 seems to be more, much more exact and more sensitive, and better able to hang on to that nav source track, the nav track, much easier. But no, I think in the future, especially if I'm on VATSIM, I would definitely flick over into heading hold if you've got any of those sharp, short turns to make, especially with SIDS and stars. But everything else in between, as you saw in the time-lapse section in the cruise, I basically went away and only came back and touched the aircraft every now and then to swap the fuel tank flow and stuff like that. So folks, thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this this Cherokee Flight1 Garmin GTN 750 video. And in the coming videos for the Cherokee and the 172, I will be bringing the 750 with me, and I'll probably do VATSIM, online VATSIM videos with the 750 in both Cherokee and 172. And sometime soon I hope to be doing some shared cockpit again with Eric Lund in the Turbine Duke with the 750. That's just... Okay. Do I have a shutdown checklist? I don't have a shutdown checklist. But let's just do one logically, shall we? Let's turn off the Radio Master. Let's turn off the autopilot. And then, let's see what would be next. Next would be pulling the mixture slowly to idle. And then pulling the throttle to idle. Wait for the propeller to stop spinning. Turn off the fuel pump, of course, and then turn off the ignition, and then the last thing, just clean up the cockpit, turn lights off that we don't need, and then, let's see, what's that, strobe, let's turn the strobe off, and then let's turn the master off. And that is pretty much how I would logically think an aircraft should be shut down. So, thank you very much for watching. In terms of coming videos, I know the channel is continuing to grow, and for the new subscribers out there, thank you very much for joining. For the new subscribers, we're almost up to about 3,000 subscribers now, getting close anyway. What my intentions are for the future is, of course, to be following any A2A aircraft developments that happen in the future. There's been rumored that a twin prop aircraft has been, I think it's the Piper Seminole. Yeah, the Piper Seminole is a twin-engined light trainer, GA light trainer. That is rumored, so that's going to be amazing to get my hands on. Also, of course, the T6 Texan by A2A was announced that it was in early development maybe a week ago now, so that's going to be very, very interesting to keep your eyes on as well. But of course, as you know, A2A is one of these people that they take their time over their products, and whenever they're released, they're solid gold. They're market standard. I'd say they're the gold standard of flight simulation on computers in general, across any platform you wish to name, X-Plane, P3D, FSX. These are amongst the top of any add-ons, aircraft add-ons you can buy. So definitely things to wait for. And it's not like other people that release them release aircraft every other week and expect you to pay 40 quid for something they release, a new thing every week. But anyway. And also on the shared cockpit front, as I just mentioned, I'm hoping to do some shared cockpit with Eric one of these days. He's super busy though because he's still in training. But the shared cockpit version of the Dash 8 should be coming out sometime this year. Quality Wings 787 is supposed to be coming out probably sometime this year. So a lot of interesting things. But yeah, thank you for joining me, and I hope to see you next time.